Where do we even begin? If there was one clip to prove to me how unrealistic these restocks are and how they're all for social media, this would be the one. I think this kind of content speaks to how much we value materialistic goods and how much of an importance we place on consumerism and overconsumption to a gluttonous degree. I think it's wasteful and it's bad for the planet. I think it's bad for our finances, and I think it's bad for our mental health. Hello and welcome back to my channel, and I'm so excited to be bringing you this new video series this year. This is the first episode in the series, and I've already got at least 7 more topics planned out for the coming months, and I'm beyond inspired by this. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you know that I focus primarily on anti-MLM and anti-scam content. And a huge piece of that is reacting to, commenting on, and debunking things that people will post on social media. So a significant part of my job is consuming social media content and then providing commentary on it, which is exactly what this new series is about. These videos are going to be structured very similarly to my original anti-MLM content, and that content's not going anywhere either. Still going to be doing that, absolutely. I'm just kind of adding this on top of it. But for this series, rather than focusing just on people in MLMs and what they're posting, we're going to be covering all things influencer and social media culture. I'm so fascinated by this topic and all of the things that it encompasses. Social media influencers have a massive influence on our society and what we deem to be trendy or cool or desirable in terms of our lifestyles. And the content we consume online has an incredible influence on what we think, what we believe, what we purchase, how we feel about ourselves, whether or not we're ready to admit that to ourselves or not. We are constantly being influenced, even if that's subconsciously. As somebody whose full-time job is on social media, I feel like I naturally analyze influencer behavior, and I think a lot about their motives, their delivery, their presentation, their public personas that they're creating and presenting to the world. And I think a lot about why they're doing the things they're doing. And that is what I would love to do with this new series, is call out some of the popular influencer trends I'm seeing and then just have a little chat about them. Probably a big chat about them in most cases, because I have a ton of thoughts. Every video in this series is going to be on a different influencer or social media related topic, where I share my observations and my thoughts and my opinions and leave the comments open for discussion. I want to hear what you think about it too. So let's get into it. Let's do this. I'm so excited. I can't wait a second longer. Today we're talking all about restock influencers, and believe me, I'm going to be showing you so many examples of this, and we're going to be breaking it down. But a brief overview, these are the influencers whose content primarily focuses on organization, cleaning, restocking, and specifically purchasing, specifically showcasing a lot of their personal possessions as a way of marketing them and promoting them so that you order through their commissionable links. A lot of these restock influencers have faceless accounts where the creator is shooting the video in point of view format, where you're kind of going along with them to organize this area or to restock this one thing. And the hook in the first few seconds of the video says something along the lines of restock my bathroom drawers with me, or clean and restock my fridge with me. This kind of content appeals to a gigantic audience of people who really enjoy satisfying, calming, ASMR type content where you literally just watch people clean and organize. And let me tell you, let me be so transparent, I love it. I eat it up. I enjoy this kind of content so much. I do follow a lot of the influencers that I'm going to be featuring in this video today. But on the other side of it, I can also recognize that there are some problematic things about these trends and about these restock influencers and the lifestyles they're perpetuating. And I think there's a lot of aspects about it that are worth a discussion, such as the overconsumption, that it pushes extreme consumerism, that a lot of this content gives off materialistic and frivolous and wasteful vibes. So here's the part where I give you a couple of my caveats before we get into the video, because I don't think this is a cut and dry issue. I think there's good sides and bad sides to it, so we're going to discuss both. On the good side of it, this kind of content is extremely satisfying. To watch somebody's fridge go from a messy, dirty disaster to sparkling clean and color-coded, and everything has its own bin, everything's labeled, it's beautiful. It feels good to watch that. It's pleasing to the eye on an aesthetic level. And it can sometimes even motivate you to want to go and clean your own fridge or clean your own spaces in your house and get them in order. And it's also worth mentioning that not all restock influencers are created equal. Some of them I have no issue with, and some of them I have a lot of issues with. For example, you could watch an Instagram reel from a creator who's like, restock my pantry for my family of 6. And it's just some mom putting away these boxes of groceries that she bought at Costco for her family or something. And it's completely not aesthetic, but it's satisfying to watch somebody do something that's so human and so real. And it's kind of fun to see, oh, you have kids, I have kids, what are you buying for your kids? What snacks do they like? Give me some inspiration or some ideas, that kind of thing. That kind of restock content feels extremely organic. That's cool. I have no issues with that. It seems reasonable and relatable, and it's like something the average family would do. But then you could watch a restock video from a different creator and it could be like, restock my ice collection with me. And it's literally someone with like 10 different fun-shaped ice cube trays, and they're creating a whole bunch of different fruit-infused ices and coffee ices, and they're picking them up with cute little tongs and placing them into beautiful organized containers in their freezer. Yes, that video does exist, and I will show it to you, and we will discuss it. But the point is, there's a difference between these types of creators. One of them is portraying a lifestyle that is realistic and attainable, and one of them is not. And those are the kinds of issues I want to bring to light today. If you consume this kind of content from either types of these creators and you enjoy it, that's wonderful. I'm not suggesting that you boycott these creators at all. I'm just saying you should enjoy their content responsibly, and we're going to talk about that so much in this video. You can appreciate the beauty and the satisfaction of it while also realizing that it is not real life and that it is perfectly curated for social media consumption. And usually so that that creator can make a commission on all the products they're trying to showcase for you. So here we go. This is the bulk of the video. I'm going to show you so many examples of exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you the videos first, and then I'm going to break down all my issues with it. Additionally, I've decided that I'm not going to be showing the usernames of any of these creators because ultimately the goal is not to put them on blast, and I don't want them to receive any negativity as a result of my video. I'm just using their videos as examples for the purpose of discussion. I told you that I would show you the ice influencer in this video, so let's start there. The video starts by saying how I make holiday ice, and we see her collection of ice trays. An entire drawer dedicated to just silicone and plastic ice trays. Then she goes to her cabinet where she's got her collection of Torani syrups. She pulls out a few that she's going to be using to make her ice. She's setting out all of her supplies here. And then one by one, she makes different kinds of ice. So we've got holiday eggnog ice. We have gingerbread ice. This one looks to be creme de menthe with almond milk. Next we have almond milk with vanilla cookie pieces on it. This one is a cranberry juice nugget ice. This looks to be like peppermint almond milk. Then we have peppermint mocha latte ice cubes. And then she's filling up all of her plastic containers with these different kinds of ices that she's making. They're all perfectly curated, all the same type of bin, all in a row. She has a full freezer drawer dedicated to nothing but ice. It's really quick moving, so a couple other things I noticed that I want to slow down and point out is that she has these cute little mitten tongs that she's using to grab the different pieces of ice and put them in the cute little plastic containers. She has these beautiful gold spoons for scooping her cocoa pieces out of this aesthetically labeled glass jar. She even sprinkles some of this ice with $15 luster dust, putting sparkles in ice. The first thing that comes to mind when I see this is, oh my God, the materialism, the overconsumption of items. To have an entire drawer in your kitchen dedicated to ice trays and an entire drawer of your freezer dedicated to ice cubes is something I will never understand. I will never relate to that. I will never have that. One of my favorite comments from this post says, I never knew something as simple as ice could make me feel poor, but here we are. And yes, I could not agree more. The purpose of her creating this video, the reason that it even exists, is because she wants to showcase different products so that you go, oh, that's cute, where'd you get that? So that she can send you a link in which she gets a commission on the sale of that product if you buy it. Just look at all of this unnecessary cutesy stuff that's being marketed to you and think about how much that must cost. Actually, you don't have to think about it because lucky for us, she has all of these products linked in the bio of her Instagram account, and we can go through and we can total everything up. This took me way longer than it should have to total up all the prices for this, but I could not help myself. I spent literally 45 minutes totaling all of this up so that I could make this point. There are a couple seasonal items that she featured that are out of stock now because it's January, and so I couldn't see the prices of them, but here's my mostly accurate rough calculations. She used 21 ice trays for this reel for a total of $154, 3 Torani syrups for $47, all of those store-bought drinks for $32, the mitten tongs were $11, those small glass pitchers that she's pouring into the ice molds, those were $15, her frother was $13, the gold spoons were $15, the glass storage containers holding all of her little mix-ins were $13, the luster dust was $15, and the freezer storage containers came out to $108. In total, everything she featured here comes out to $423 for ice, for fancy ice cubes. If you wanted to recreate this reel and have this ice collection for yourself, it's gonna cost you over $400. To be fair, no, I don't actually believe people are going to go and recreate this reel. No, I don't think that everyone's going to go and purchase all of these products just because she showed them. I would not expect that somebody's going to watch this reel and go, I need everything, and actually order all of it. But the reason I totaled all of this up is to make the point that this is not real life. This is not what most people have. This is not what most people should strive to have. But what she's trying to do is showcase as many products as humanly possible within a 1-minute clip so that she can direct people to her commissionable link so that she can get a kickback on that. This is a job. This is her business. It's not real and it's not something to aspire to. It's cute and fun, sure, but it's not attainable in reality. I was looking through the comments on this creator's posts and a lot of them are along the lines of, wow, must be nice to be so wealthy, or wow, you must have a lot of time on your hands. But what I want people to understand about this kind of content is that this is a business. She probably spent several hours creating this 1-minute piece of content, but it wasn't a waste of time because it's her job. And it's so important that we have that understanding when we're watching it. This person is a restock content creator. This is her job. This is what she does for work. And if she's purchasing all of these products for the purpose of her content creation business, she can write that off on her taxes as a business expense. You should always talk to a tax professional about what you can write off on your own business taxes, but in most cases, that's what's happening. So if she's able to purchase these things, but then write them off on her taxes and make a commission when people buy through her links after she shows them, then she's actually making money. That's what I want to make so crystal clear, is that this is not their real life. They don't actually live this way. They don't just magically have an abundance of time and money on their hands to put towards making this video. That time and money is being spent as an investment in their business because it's their job. Hopefully I've reiterated that enough that it makes sense. But her work duties include creating a fantasy about what a desirable life looks like so that she can ideally tempt you into shopping for these products using her links. All you have to do is look through the comments on these restock influencers videos to see that the content is functioning exactly as intended. Everybody's asking, where did you get those ice molds? Where were your containers from? Those cute little mitten tongs, where did you get those? Can you send me a link? A lot of times the creator will put link in bio in their caption or somewhere within the reel to direct people to go to their Instagram profile. There's a link right there at the top. You can click on it, and that usually leads people to their Amazon storefront and their like to know it page. These are the two most popular influencer affiliate programs. If you're a member of these affiliate programs, what you do is you go to those platforms. So you go to your Amazon storefront, you find the product that you're promoting, and it spits out an individualized, unique link that is commissionable to you. And that's the link that you share with your followers. So the most popular thing to do is to have that link in the bio of your Instagram account so anybody can find it at any time. But the newer trend that's on the rise right now that you've probably already noticed is the creator will say, comment a certain word in the comment section and I'll send you a direct link to your messages where you can find all of these things. For example, you could see a creator saying, comment the word ice if you want a link to all of these ice drawer items. Sometimes the creators will go through and manually send the link to everybody's messages who comments, but there's also a service that you can sign up and pay for to achieve this through automation. It's an automation service that recognizes the keywords in your comments and it goes to those people's profiles and sends them the link for you. And this is also something that you can write off as a business expense because it's helping them achieve these sales. This strategy is really smart because what it does is it drums up engagement on your post by encouraging people to comment, which is good for the algorithm. If the Instagram algorithm sees that the reel you just posted is gaining all of these comments and all this engagement, it's going to be pushed out to more people. So it encourages comments, which is great for the algorithm and it's great for the engagement of your content, but also it means that rather than being forthright with where you got the items and just putting in the caption, got everything from Amazon, you're kind of gatekeeping that information at least for a little bit and forcing people to ask you where you got it so that you can send them a private link in their private DMs and they can only figure out where to buy this item once they get your link and you get a commission for it. If somebody comments on your post, where did you get that heart-shaped ice tray? You're not going to say, got it on Amazon. You're going to say, let me send you the link. That's how the creator makes money. So when you see videos like this, I don't want you to leave that content thinking, dang, I wish I could do that. I wish I could have that. No, stop. It's not real. It's make-believe. This is the equivalent of comparing your life to a Hollywood movie. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. And I think it's perfectly fine to consume this kind of content for the enjoyment of it. Personally, I follow this creator. I like her content. I enjoy watching her reels because they're satisfying and they're fun to watch, mostly because I'm just amazed and perplexed at her collections of things and the effort that she puts into this content. I think it's fascinating. That's why I follow her and that's why I enjoy it. But what we're not going to do is let this kind of content make us feel bad about ourselves and make us feel like we are lacking in our lifestyles and our possessions. I kind of equate this to when you compare your own body to a photo of a celebrity that's had countless surgeries and procedures and professional photoshopping and a private chef and a personal trainer to make them look immaculate. It's just not fair to yourself because what you're comparing yourself to is not a real thing. Even they don't look like that in real life. So what I want you to remember as we keep going is that we can appreciate these videos for exactly what they are: aesthetically pleasing, curated content. Ideally without falling into this trap of believing that it's real life, because it's not. Here's another video from the same creator, and also the rest of the clips I'm going to show you in this video are ASMR style. So if you're not into that or that's really grating to your ears, you might want to mute it for a minute. What I want to point out about this video is that we saw one freezer drawer for nothing but fancy ice, we saw another freezer drawer for nothing but pints of ice cream, and a fridge plus a mini fridge for nothing but beverages. Yes, it is aesthetically pleasing to have these parts of your home be so meticulously organized that they resemble a grocery store, but my first thought is, where does the actual food go? What about the stuff you eat? Because we're not just drinking liquids all day. What are you going to eat for dinner? Where are your leftovers? Where are all the ingredients to make a meal? This is obviously not a realistic representation of what people's fridges and freezers actually look like. Not to mention how costly that would be to stock these kinds of drinks in your fridge all the time, and the single-use packaging waste too. 4 different types of bottled water, all kinds of bottled soda, and individual bottles of coffee. I understand that the aesthetic is to look like a convenience store fridge, but that's the thing. These beverages are packaged for on-the-go convenience, not necessarily for all-day, everyday use. This is not the kind of thing you would typically see in people's homes. It just seems so wasteful to me to be in your own home cracking open several different kinds of bottles in a day when you could be drinking water from the filter in your fridge if you have one. Or you could get one of those filtered water pitchers. You could brew your own pot of coffee. If you're gonna have soda, aluminum cans are better for the environment than plastic bottles. But practicality is not what always looks the most glamorous for content's sake, so that's why creators get super extra with it. People don't actually live this way, but it's nice to fantasize about living that way. And speaking of plastic waste and unrealistic food storage solutions, here's another fridge restock video. Plastic inside of plastic inside of plastic. So here we actually have some groceries. That's great. What bothers me about this is that there is absolutely zero dead space in this fridge. So what happens if you need to store leftovers? What if you're hosting a party or something and you bought a whole bunch of special groceries for that occasion that don't have a regular spot in your fridge and they don't have their own special storage bin? Are you gonna empty out some of those storage bin containers and find somewhere to put them in your house so that you can make room for these other groceries? She has 12 labeled bins at the top of her fridge for different kinds of produce. What if one week you'd rather have tangerines instead of grapes? Are you gonna take the time to peel off the label that says grapes and make a new one that says tangerines for the week? My cat Zeke has come to say hello. You'll probably hear him in the background of this video. It's just so comically impractical to think about all these behind the scenes components of this video. Rather than getting home from the grocery store and putting your groceries in the fridge, instead you're finding the right size container and you're playing Tetris to make sure they all fit perfectly. Then you're creating a label and you're emptying food from one plastic container and putting it into a different plastic container. And then you're stuffing your fridge to the max so that nothing else can fit in there. No, thank you. Nobody other than content creators has the time or energy for this. So many extra steps, so much extra time that people don't realistically have to put towards that kind of project. Also, maybe this is just a me issue, but I really appreciate being able to see the expiration dates on things. My first thought as I'm watching her repackage these milks and creamers and deli meats into these other plastic containers is like, how are you gonna know when it's past its prime? I guess you could just give everything the smell test all the time, but the idea of having food items in your fridge that are unlabeled and you have no frame of reference for how long it's been in there or when it's gonna go bad freaks me out to the max. Absolutely not. And another thing, think about this. You've just taken a giant bottle of ketchup. You've squeezed out about half of it into this cutesy little glass jar, but the whole bottle of ketchup doesn't fit into the cutesy jar. So now you have this half-empty bottle of Heinz that needs to be refrigerated now that you've opened it. So where's that gonna go? Are you throwing the rest of that ketchup away? Are you storing the Heinz ketchup bottle in the fridge right next to the cutesy glass jar? If so, what's the point? Do you have a backup fridge somewhere else in your house where you're keeping all these half-empty bottles of condiments? Like, it is so impractical. It is so wasteful. It doesn't make sense. These are the kinds of questions we need to be asking ourselves when we're watching these videos. Because I would bet you that these influencers don't live like that either. They buy all the containers, they shoot the video, they post the content, and then the next week their fridge is back to looking like a normal person fridge because they realize how ridiculous this kind of thing is to maintain. Now, I will say I am guilty of buying some kinds of plastic containers for certain purposes in my kitchen, one of them being my spice jars. I love them. Actually, those are glass, not plastic, but still. I love having a uniform spice cabinet, and it's great because the spice jars are the exact same size as the store-bought kind, so the whole bottle fits in there. There's no extras floating around. Everything is uniform. Everything has a label. It's all organized. Love it. I also have some plastic containers in my baking cabinet for things like flour, sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar. I do have plastic containers with pretty little labels on them in my home, so maybe this makes me a hypocrite, but what I'm saying is that I can absolutely appreciate the satisfaction of having everything look uniform and be organized. But in the case of spice jars or baking supplies, those are like one-time projects that you're not getting into those spaces multiple times a day. You're not rotating new items in and out of there all the time. I just needed a storage solution for those powdery products that for some reason come in these terrible paper sacks that always rip, they always spill. So I guess my disclaimer is that there can absolutely be a time and place for certain kinds of storage solutions and they can make your life easier. But when you're watching these kinds of videos, I want you to question the true practicality of it and what that would look like in your own life. Would these storage solutions work well in something like a baking cabinet? Maybe. Would they work well in something like your fridge? Probably not. But it makes for beautiful content. We've spent a lot of time in the kitchen in this video, so let's move on from that. Here's a video where the caption says, when you have to restock your entire guest bathroom drawer because your friend says that she'll only use natural, non-toxic, vegan products. I will say I love me some plastic dividers in something like a bathroom drawer. There's so many little teeny tiny products and it's nice to have them separated like that. But I'm sorry, you're restocking your entire guest bathroom with brand new products because your friend is coming to visit? Miss Ma'am, tell your friend to bring her own toiletries. What are you doing? What kind of house guest shows up and is like, yes, hello, I'm here to stay for a few days, but I brought exactly none of my own toiletries and I'm gonna need you to purchase them for me and they have to be vegan. Excuse me? I can almost guarantee you this did not actually happen. This is a fake scenario. I'm calling it right now. Some of these skincare products that she's stocking are like $70 each. I'm sorry, you just cannot convince me that this is real. I promise you that if your friend comes to stay with you, it's all right if you don't buy them brand new $70 skincare. They're still gonna be your friend. It's all right. This is so unnecessary. But putting all of these newly packaged products into perfectly sized organizers is great for content. And it's a great way to show off those commissionable products, so we're going with it. Again, an example of something that is not real life. Now, if you think the videos I've shown you so far are excessive, you've seen nothing yet. This next creator takes it to a whole new level of overconsumption. This video moves fast, so really pay attention to all these gadgets and gizmos aplenty that she's showing us. The video is called Pack My Purse and Stuff My Cash Envelope With Me. Where do we even begin? Let's start here. This is so much stuff. So much stuff, so many belongings, so many physical little tangible items for extremely specific purposes. If you didn't catch all of them, some examples of this are like this little doohickey where you squirt liquid onto a dry towelette and then it creates like your own wet wipe, this little floss pick dispenser, this little thing that might be a blotting paper dispenser, an earbud cleaning kit, these dissolvable hand soap things. I mean, truly, I had to watch this video several times to figure out what all the little gadgets are. I had never seen anything like those in my life. I did not know things like that existed. This is consumerism to an unmatched level. Every single thing that she featured in this video is a nice to have, but not a need to have. And what sets this creator apart from a lot of the other ones I've seen is that she posts a lot of these videos with these very obscure, frivolous, niche type products that she does really well with because people are like, wait a minute, what is that? Where did you get that? I've never seen anything like it. Can I have the link? That's her whole business. She is in the business of being extra. And you know what? I love that for her. She also does a lot of content that's like clean my hotel room with me before I move into it, where she brings an entire set of these travel-friendly cleaning gadgets with her and she deep cleans her whole hotel room and people are in the comments like, you are so extra. This is so ridiculous. But her voiceovers to it are like, you know what? It is extra. It is ridiculous, but I love doing it for me. So it's not hurting anybody. I like to be this extra and that's fine. You do you, I'll do me. So you know what? More power to her. It seems like she genuinely enjoys being this clean, organized, meticulous type person. And it's almost like a hobby of hers to collect these convenience type items. And if it genuinely brings her joy, that's great. But what I'm saying is that it strikes me as extremely extra and extremely wasteful. So many types of things that she's promoting that are single use that aren't really necessary, but they're really cute. And it makes for good content. I think we should be careful to not let these videos make us feel like we don't have enough. Because I know for me personally, I could watch this video and I would start to fall into a trap of like, man, I wish I had a new Gucci purse that I could fill with all these cute little things. How fun! I want that too. And I could start to feel down on myself that I don't own these things or that I can't afford these things. But that's okay because I have everything I need and that's what matters. One of the comments on this reel that I just loved says, watching your videos makes me realize how little I have, yet I'm still so content with what I have. That's a blessing. I love that so much. And I think that is exactly what we should be taking away from this. Again, enjoy the content responsibly. Being extra is literally this woman's job, and what she's portraying is a fantasy, something that she wants you to aspire to so that you will purchase the product she's promoting. That's how she makes money at her job. So on one hand, we can't fault her for doing her job, but we should also be vigilant with how we consume this content and how we allow it to make us feel. Two other things about this one that I want to briefly mention before we move on is, number one, she basically went shopping in her own household. She's stocking her purse with items that she pulled out of her own collection, like one eyelash wand from my eyelash wand drawer, a couple wipes from my wipe drawer, a hand sanitizer from my hand sanitizer drawer. And this is where I start to consider the real estate that these things are taking up within her house. That is so much storage space being taken up by little gadgets. Because now that you own these items, you're gonna have to store these items somewhere, and that alone stresses me out. I am the declutter queen. I cannot stand excess stuff laying around. I feel like it clutters my mind. It's distracting. It exhausts me to have to look at it and have to find a place for it. This kind of lifestyle is not for me. Great for her, not for me. And the second little thing I wanted to mention is that I just have to wonder if these influencers actually use all of the niche products they promote. Because to me, it seems like a hassle and a bother to go dig out these little specific products from your collection when there's easier, simpler ways to achieve the same result. What's coming to mind from this reel is, why do we need a wet wipe dispenser and individually wrapped wipes and hand sanitizer and dissolvable hand soap when you could just go to the sink and wash your hands? I understand that she's packing her purse, so these things are meant for on-the-go travel convenience, but still, a $2 mini bottle of Purell is gonna do the same thing, you know? This is gross overconsumption to an outstanding degree. Moral of the story is that the things that are being pitched to us are modern conveniences that might be nice to have, but I urge you to think about the cost, the clutter, and the waste it's creating. Remember that you have lived your whole life without a little device to clean your earbuds and a little device to make a wet wipe, and somehow you've survived. It's okay to look at this and say, wow, that's cool, I've never seen that before, and then scroll on and not feel pressured to purchase it and to not let it make you feel bad about what you lack. Here's one last video just to drive this whole thing home. This is somebody restocking their junk drawer. And before I even show it to you, I think it's important to point out that a junk drawer is not something you restock. It's junk. It's the junk drawer. This is where all your random odds and ends go to die. That's what's so hilarious to me, because this video is probably one of the least relatable pieces of content you could create. I understand maybe putting in some little plastic organizers or bins to give some order to the chaos, but literally nobody on the planet is restocking their junk drawer with more junk. That's just not a thing. So here's the video. Yeah, so I'd call this more of a utility drawer than a junk drawer, but even still, look at how many travel-sized and single-use products are being featured here. So many individually wrapped wipes, travel tissues, travel toilet paper, travel stain remover and disinfecting spray and deodorant wipes. Like, you're at home. Why do you need all this travel-sized stuff? Incredibly wasteful, expensive, and unnecessary. Presumably, there's a spot in your home where you keep all of your full-size cleaning products, so why do you need to fill a drawer in a different room of your house with all of the mini versions? I personally don't have space in my house to have an entire drawer dedicated to stuff like this. I also don't see the purpose of it, so I wouldn't make room for it either. Also, this battery organizer looks super satisfying, right? People are going crazy for this in the comments, asking for the link to it, and it looks so great and orderly in this reel until you go and buy yourself a value pack of batteries at Costco or something, and there's not enough slots in this battery organizer to keep all of them, so you fill it up and then you have this back stock again, just like we saw earlier with the fridge organization. So now you're gonna have to find a spot for that too. It's just not practical. It's almost like you would need an actual junk drawer to fit all the excess stuff that didn't fit into your Instagram junk drawer. If there was one clip to prove to me how unrealistic these restocks are and how they're all for social media, this would be the one. But at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's realistic or not, because the primary goal is not to organize your fridge, your bathroom drawer, your junk drawer. The main goal is to showcase a variety of interesting products that catch people's attention and display them in such a way that makes the viewer feel like they need those products in order to improve their life in some way. I truly could go on forever and ever showing you examples of these restock influencers, but here's the point. Here's what I want you to take away. You can still be fulfilled and happy and worthy and important and successful in life, even if you don't have a drawer in your freezer for fancy ice. Even if your produce isn't perfectly curated and labeled. Even if you don't pay hundreds of dollars to restock your bathroom drawer for one specific guest. I think this kind of content speaks to how much we value materialistic goods and how much of an importance we place on consumerism and overconsumption to a gluttonous degree. I think it's wasteful and it's bad for the planet. I think it's bad for our finances, and I think it's bad for our mental health. These types of videos make us normal people feel bad about what we lack, whether that be the money or the time or the resources to live this way too. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's to please remember that this kind of content is not something to strive for or something to compare yourself to. No one actually has time for this. Most people don't have money for this, and most people aren't willing to bother with how much time and energy it takes to live this way. It's not real. It's just the influencer's job that they're doing on social media. The creators I've shown you today have hundreds of thousands of followers. Some of them have over 1 million followers. Their influence and their reach is very significant. Literally millions of people are watching their content. And on one hand, I understand that it's their time and it's their money, and if this truly brings them joy to have a lifestyle like this and to make content like this, fine, more power to them. But we have to understand that it's our responsibility as the viewers and consumers to manage our own thoughts and feelings about their content. And I think we need to be self-reflective and assess whether or not consuming this kind of content is good for us in the long run. If you find that it makes you feel bad about yourself, or that you feel envious, or you feel compelled to spend beyond your budget, or if it makes you believe that you need material possessions to be happy in life, I would urge you to reconsider following that creator. Or maybe you could mute their posts for a while to see how that makes you feel. Or if this is coming up and the algorithm is just feeding it to you, even though you're not following these people, there is an option to go to the settings of that post and request to not be shown content like that in the future. So you can do that as well. I think a great way to end this video is to shout out a couple of creators that are doing their influencer job really responsibly. If you really enjoy restock and cleaning type content, but you don't want 100 products pushed down your throat with every video, check out Carissa Cleans It All on Instagram. I can have her profile linked below. She's a mom who shares her very realistic looking house with kids, and she does a lot of cleaning and reorganizing and restocking type content in a way that it's organized but not overly curated. Her videos are very relatable. She portrays a lifestyle that seems very attainable to the average family, and you can still get that same feel-good organization motivation without feeling like you have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff to live just like her. She does have some of these clear acrylic storage solutions throughout her house, but she's using them in a really functional way. And a lot of her videos are not like this complete overhaul of going from like a normal looking fridge to a completely curated looking fridge. Instead, it's like, clean up my living room the day after Christmas with me, right? And she's just taking care of the possessions that she already owns, which I love. And the second account that I want to recommend is the Barda House on Instagram. I can also link her below. This is not a restocking account, but it is all about decluttering, minimizing, living with less, and taking good care of the possessions you have, versus always desiring to accumulate more. I call this a de-influencing account. It's a great account to follow if you want daily motivation on how to live simply with less clutter. She's very much about owning exactly what you need, loving those possessions, using those possessions, and getting rid of the rest, letting it go, right? Living more simply and appreciating what you have. And I'd also love to ask viewers to drop your recommendations in the comments below too, if you know of other creators that are similar to those I just mentioned. And with that, that's everything I have for you for episode 1 of this new influencer series. I'm so excited about this. I think these topics are really fascinating to do a little mini dive into. I hope you found it entertaining as well, and I hope it makes you think critically about what you're consuming when you're scrolling on social media. I have so many other topic ideas for this series, and I can't wait to get into those, but let me just tell you this was a really tame video in comparison. I do have the topics kind of mapped out, and I intentionally wanted to kind of ease into it with a bit video like this is a fair warning that there's some pretty troublesome, problematic, scandalous topics coming up where I can already tell that my commentary is going to be a lot more fiery and opinionated and passionate. Family vloggers, I'm looking at you. But I feel like we have to work up to that, okay? So we're easing into it slow. And on that note, I guess if you have any topic ideas that you would like for me to consider as part of this series, drop them in the comments below. I can't wait to hear your feedback on today's video, and if you're just here for the anti-MLM stuff, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. The very next video you see will be anti-MLM. It's been really fun to dip my toes into these different topics, so thanks for giving me the space to do that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.